Right now, we are hearing for the first time from the woman, or one of the women, on the other end of Anthony Weiner's X-rated chat sessions. We will have the very latest. And next, it's not just Anthony Weiner, unfortunately, in the glare of the media spotlight. His wife, Uma, has thrust herself into the circus, and now she's feeling some of the heat. Question is that deserved? And later, we will have our one-on-one interview with Barbara Buono. She's the woman who wants to unseat Chris Christie as next governor of New Jersey, and she says all Christie's concerns, he's just worried about his political career and not the Garden State. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thanks so much for joining us this Thursday evening, July 25th, and you know where we're going right off the top. The question everybody's asking is, should and will Anthony Weiner drop out of the race? Your comments, they're scrolling at the bottom of the screen, and we ask you to keep them coming on both Facebook and Twitter. Well, he's hanging in there, at least for now, despite growing calls for him to do the contrary.
Right now, this is a distraction. I think the consensus has emerged that Anthony shouldn't run, and I believe that also.
Bill Thompson, a guest in this program, he joins other mayoral candidates who are calling on Weiner to end his bid for mayor. Editorial pages of both the Times and the Daily News and Wall Street Journal all saying the same thing. Weiner's chief opponent, if you look at the polls, at least before, Christine Quinn, she slammed him for bringing a circus into the mayoral race, but stopped short of calling for him to step aside.
Member Weiner has brought to the mayor's race in the last 2 months has been a disservice to New Yorkers. We see a pattern of reckless behavior, consistently poor judgment, and difficulty with the truth.
Now, for his part, Anthony Weiner managed to even anger more people at a debate last night when he made a joke about himself and the situation. The wisecrack came when candidates were asked which social networking site they preferred, Facebook or Twitter. I gotta tell you up front, I don't know how he could have answered that question anyway without getting in trouble. But anyway, Eric Salgado, is a Democratic candidate for mayor, said he was trying to learn how to use Twitter. Here was Weiner's response.
Mr. Weiner.
Meanwhile, we are learning more about Weiner's secret online life, or more of it. At least one of the women he communicated with, Sydney Leathers. That is what she called herself online. All this story I can't make up here, including, what's his name? What Danger?
Carlos Danger.
Carlos Danger. Thank you. Well, this woman is a Midwestern young lady in her early 20s. She engaged in online sex chats and phone sex with Anthony Weiner. She says the former congressman even told her he loved her, sat down for an exclusive interview. Yes, it's come to this with Inside Edition.
Our conversations were always of a very sexual nature. He was making these campaign promises that he had totally changed, and I am proof that that is not true. I feel sick about it. I'm disgusted by him. He's not who I thought he was. He actually said that about himself to me. The exact wording was that he's an argumentative, perpetually horny, middle-aged man.
Okay. Now, for her part, she claims that Weiner even consulted with her before deciding to run for mayor. Leathers went on to say she first contacted him after, and this is the key part of this whole thing here, after he resigned from Congress in disgrace because of the other tweets and too much information, as we all know, that he shared. Well, today, Weiner said that he had online relationships with not one, not two, but 3 women after he resigned from Congress. Again, keyword there, after. And one other tidbit, unless like you needed it here, the former congressman exchanged raunchy exchanges on FormSpring. That's a website popular with young teens and tweens that allows you to post anonymously. In 2011, FormSpring was linked to at least 2 teen suicides because of the anonymous posting enabling cyberbullying. Now, as you'd expect or hopefully hope, Weiner's popularity has taken a beating since this admission. The latest poll, he's dropped now to 2nd place. Now, before the scandal broke here, with all the baggage he brought, he was in first, at least according to this polling agency. All right, I want to bring in a panel on this here. TJ McCormick, host of Good Morning Westchester on WVOX Radio 1460. Dominic Carter, political journalist and author. New York Assemblywoman Shelley Mayer, Democrat of Yonkers, first time joining us, and senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman. Okay, I'll throw you right into the lines then on this thing. Would you be calling, or are you calling for him to get out of the race right now, or is this a decision that he's got to make on his own?
Oh, I absolutely think he should get out of the race. I think it's more than a distraction. I think you're talking about a city that is so important to the world and to the country, and to allow a person who, in my opinion, has some serious mental problems to get in there and act like there's nothing wrong. We are talking about someone who has behaved recklessly, irresponsibly, hurtfully, and obviously has a very serious problem. It didn't end when he resigned. Notwithstanding what he made us all think, he kept it going. And I think he should get out. He needs to get out. It's a disservice to the voters of New York City, and in fact to the whole state and to the country, because New York's governance is important to way more than the city of New York.
New York's, obviously, New Yorkers pride themselves about being blasé. If they see a celebrity, blasé. Nothing shocks New Yorkers anymore. And even when he got back in the race, immediately he vaulted up almost to the top and eventually was first, because nothing surprises New Yorkers. But Don, this is different. Is it different because he did it again, or is it by how he did it, who he did it with, and just the whole unseemliness of it?
It's different because after Mr. Weiner was forgiven by the people of New York City, the state, and the country, we now find out that there's much more to what he was doing. I guess at the end of the day, it's offensive to women. It's offensive to all voters, but the voters have to decide that. The good news for Mr. Weiner, we're only about 45 days away from the election, but he remains on life support.
But you and I both know how this works, right? We've been through this rodeo a few times.
Oh, yes, we have.
Now, all of a sudden, you've got a press that's angry at him. Where he was a punchline, the New York Times Magazine, we said this before, wrote that big wet kiss to him, right? Now they're like, you duped me too. So now they're going to try and not take it at his word. There's three. Anyone can make up anything at this point. What's he going to do? He's got no credibility anymore. And now you've got pictures, and you've got the text and the whole unseemliness. I guess my question is, would a betting man say he gets out before the election, or does he have nothing to lose?
He's a political animal. He right now is already thinking, okay, what is the next thing I can do 4 or 5 years from now? What can I do? I think he gets out seemingly of his own volition within like a week. That would be my bet. Within a week, he's gone, because now this speaks to integrity.
But doesn't he need to go through a whole election?
He's got to finish this. Right? He's got to finish. For him to be able to say redemption or anything, he must finish this race. If he gets out, he's finished. Finito. There'll be no return of any way of Anthony Weiner.
I think he would be seen as cavalier to all of this rightful criticism if he decided to stick it out and see exactly how many votes he could get. And who wants to stick it out and end up with 600 votes in the city of New York? And God willing, it would be that low.
Oh, I don't think so. You look at the polls, fresh off the scandal, and he's still sitting at 16%. I think that says a little bit about the field, but something else. Now, Andrew, for people who missed it, the former Speaker, Congressman Nancy Pelosi, she weighed in on this today. If we could share that with everybody.
Let me be very clear. The conduct of some of these people that we're talking about here is reprehensible. It's so disrespectful of women. And what's really stunning about it is they don't even realize it. You know, they don't have a clue. And it is really, if they're clueless, get a clue. If they need therapy, do it in private.
And many people took that private line to say get out. Obviously, she and others, he lied to them the first time when the scandal broke here, and they were as mad as anybody about it. They made him or pushed him out here, made it very clear, including members of the New York delegation, they didn't want him part of it anymore. But my question is, I guess, is there any new lines that came out of this? I know a lot of people said, my God, if this guy actually wins after everything that he did, forget infidelity being a disqualifier anymore. As long as you say sorry, you'll get away with it. It's not just Democrats. You got Vitter down in Louisiana with a prostitute, Mr. Family Values. He could be governor if he wanted to right now. So my question is there any new standard that comes out of this, especially if he loses big or even drops out? At least have we reached a basement that we won't go too beyond as voters or electors?